Inner Peace, Better Health, where we don't just chase healing, we awaken to it. I'm your host, Shreya, and today's guest, Amara Palmer, is a spiritual teacher, depth hypnosis practitioner, and founder of Freedom Through Inquiry. From 35 years of seeking to a radical awakening in the Mojave Desert, Amara reminds us that true peace doesn't come from fixing ourselves, but from welcoming what is. This episode will shift your perspective on trauma, identity, and healing in ways that feel like coming home. So, welcome, Amara. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Thank you. So good to be here.
So, Amara, you say awakening is not just distant goal, but something available now. What does
Yes.
awakening really mean to you, and how can we tell if we are close to it or not?
Okay. All right. So I see quite simply awakening as a shift in identity. And it's actually a shift out of identity, out of identifying as a separate personal self or even as anything that can be touched or seen or experienced sensorially or even with the imagination. What we are is prior to, beyond even our imaginings.
Yeah.
And so there's that. We awaken to the freedom that we are. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that for me is true awakening. Now there are a lot of awakenings along the way and benchmarks that are very important. But I'll quote the Buddha here, through Pema Chodron, the Buddhist nun. She I heard her say that awakening is available to everyone. For every living being, awakening is a potential within everyone. So I hold that to be true, and intuitively I feel that we know it. And so I hold that for everyone that I come across. And as far as how we know if we're close, I would say that there's if you can touch into a yearning within yourself to know truth
Yeah.
or to know peace or to know love, but a deep, deep yearning within yourself. And I would say that it's if you're not in touch with it, it's not that it's missing. It's
Mm.
just that it hasn't been recognized yet. We all come to this point where we recognize that the things of the world, all our engagements in the world are not going to bring the fulfillment, the 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 sustainable fulfillment that we seek. Right?
Yeah.
There comes a time when we turn away and we just realize, oh, okay, this fundamental discontent that I'm experiencing, I've been chasing, I've been chasing fulfillment in the world and it's not working. That's when we know we've really turned around, and all kinds of shifts happen
Yeah.
from that. So what I do is I really help others address this sense of fundamental discontent, and it eventually transforms into a sense of fundamental well-being. But
Yes.
it's a process. And like I say, there are many tipping points along the way.
Mm.
There is one that can come subtly, or it can come in a shattering experience, as it did for me. This recognition that I'm not what I've taken myself to be my
Yeah.
whole life. I'm just not that. And so again, that everyone's awakening is different, is unique, and I apparently needed a a I sometimes say a two by four against the head. So it was unmistakable, but not everyone needs
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's powerful to realize that we don't have to become something new. We just have to stop believing that we are broken.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. We come to recognize wholeness. We come
Yeah,
to recognize that we're not separate after all. There's this pervasive sense of separation most of us live with. And it's uncomfortable if we can turn towards the discomfort. I Most of my work is helping others lean into discomfort because that's where the treasure is. If we're still trying to ignore the discomfort, if we're trying to escape it through entertainment or food or sex, or this world is filled with
yeah,
myriad ways that we can attempt to escape this sense of discomfort. But the sense of separation is uncomfortable because it's not true. It's
yeah,
not what it's not true of us, and it's not true of the world. There's just one thing happening. And I say that comes through a series of relaxations.
yeah.
Comes through a series of relaxations. And then there can be a tremendous experience of ease, effortlessness, flow. Yeah. And I love the name of your show, Inner Peace, Better Health. Inner Peace is, yes, what this is about.
Thank you so much for your kind words. And as you mentioned, that our core wound, not enoughness, is learned. So, where
Exactly.
does that conditioning usually come from, and how does it show up in our bodies?
Yes, beautiful question. So we might be experiencing not enough. We might, I'm not enough, or there's not enough. That's it, two sides of a coin. Not doing it right. We might be forever trying to improve ourselves because we have this core sense of not doing it right.
Yeah,
Um, I would say, and there are more core contractions. I'm unsafe. I'm unlovable. These core contractions, perhaps they pass on from past life experiences, traumas. They can be instilled or reinstilled in this life through the traumas of our ancestors, and then repeated through the traumas of our caregivers being reenacted on us. I would just say, in short, they're basically inherited. They're basically inherited
okay.
and then reinforced through our experience in this world as it's presenting now. So we come to believe this about ourselves. We
Yeah.
come to believe I'm not enough. We come to believe I'm not. So what we can do, what I'd love to introduce to your viewers and listeners, is that we can use inquiry. This is a special kind of questioning, a questioning of self, of awareness, um, to come to the truth of what we are. So we it's called self inquiry, and this points us self inquiry points us back to the truth of us. So I'm going to introduce awareness here, because all of this, yeah, all of this um, inner knowing, and I invite everybody to take on the notion that they can move beyond belief and to knowing. We don't need to believe when we can know, and through inquiry we can come to know without a doubt our
Yeah.
true nature. Okay, beautiful. So, through inquiry, we're shining the light of awareness into the shadows, into the uninvestigated beliefs that we hold about ourselves and about the world. And you know what happens when a flashlight lands in a place that's been in the dark? It's illuminated and it's seen. It's seen for what it is. The mind can make up all kinds of stories about that dark corner in the room, right? There can be all kinds of shenanigans that the mind makes up about what's happening in that dark corner. But as soon as the light shined on it, we can see that that's empty. There's nothing there. right? So we come to question, the mentations, what the mind would offer about reality, and come to see reality as it is, which is always, always much more kind than what the mind would make of it. And
Yes, and that kind of somatic compassion feels like the beginning of real freedom. And what happens when we begin to welcome those contractions instead of resisting them?
beautiful. I love your questions. It goes, you're getting right to the heart of things. What happens is freedom. So we can spend so much of our time avoiding the discomfort of what I call contractions in the body, somatic contractions. These are tensions or resistances against what is really. There's so much there that I could go into, but they're born of trauma. They're born of these beliefs that tell us untruths about ourselves. Um, and so these contractions are usually held in place by a belief. So as soon as we go in, and I call this self inquiry with a small s, there's self inquiry into our true nature with a large S. This is self inquiry with a small s into our experience, into our human experience. So these somatic contractions that are born of conditioning and trauma that are held in the body and give us a sense of this is what gives us a sense of separation, um, are usually attached to beliefs, and they're held in place by beliefs. So what we do is we detach the belief from the sensation, and that's all it ends up being. There's a sensation here, and we address them separately. Before investigating, it feels like the same thing. So, say someone comes along and says something that that what some call triggering, right? So your viewers and listeners might know it as triggering. Somebody says something that's upsetting to us, and it's actually upsetting in a way that's blown way out of proportion. We've all experienced this. It might feel like a gut punch. It might feel like somebody's just crushed our heart. You know, this is one of these contractions being triggered. One of these
Okay.
contractions, these tender places in us that we tend to protect, being touched by another or by a circumstance. I would say, rather than distract from the experience, rather than point the finger outward to the other saying, you shouldn't hurt me like that, this is a golden opportunity to lean into it, recognize it. This is mine. This is mine to come to understand. So much of this work is just, maybe all of it, it's just bringing into the light of awareness what is. And so when we're struck this way, when we have this kind of experience, it's uncomfortable, yes, but we can recondition ourselves rather than turn away from it through distraction or entertainment, and in so many ways. We can lean into it and welcome it and bring in a curiosity. Oh my goodness, what is this? And in a way, it's a lost part of ourselves. It's a part that's been ignored and rejected, kept in that. It
Yeah.
kept in the dark, maybe kept in the corner of that dark room. And so we can come with gentleness and tenderness and curiosity and welcoming, true welcoming, not to get rid of the feeling, but to allow that feeling to point us to something deeper that's been lost of ourselves. So yeah, that's part of the reclaiming. That's part of the reclaiming of our experiences. Um, and it's on the other side of this discomfort, on the other side of this meeting, is tremendous freedom. And that's why we do it. And believe it or not, we can even come to look forward to being triggered. Oh,
Okay.
there's a lost part of me that I've missed. Thank you. You thank the other for pointing out a part
Mhm.
that's been lost for a long time. And then when the time is right, you sit down and come to inquire in, and there's so many different ways to meet it.
Yes, and thank you for sharing all your experiences and knowledge. This is wonderful. And also, you have created a sound and light dome in the Mojave. So, can you share how sound and light therapies help the nervous system unravel the old patterns?
Yes, well, I wish I knew. It's it just does. Um, let's see, rather than getting technical, I'll go into my experience with
Yeah,
it. So back in mm, 1999, way back when, um, a Kundalini awakening reemerged. It had been originally triggered in 1992, and and uh and I received some and it settled, but I received some energy work that re-triggered this Kundalini awakening. And I found, and it was challenging. I won't go too much into it, but it's a lot of energy in a system that's not used to it. I'll just put it that way. It's a lot of energy that the system isn't used to. So what I learned was, if I used my voice, used toning, and what some might call gibberish, some might call light language. It's speaking in a non-language language. It's gibberish. um, I could assist the energy to move and and support openings where openings needed to happen, so the energy wasn't doing all the work. This was all very intuitive, and it was tremendously helpful. And ever since then, and so that was that right there was the beginning of a 10-year process of Kundalini moving through my system and rewiring. It's as if I was being rewired from 110 volts to 220. And um and so I knew the power of sound, and I never stopped singing. And I continued to use my voice even after Kundalini settled, because also in these releasings, which came fast and furious after another awakening, a non-dual awakening, a kind of a shattering of all I had taken myself to be. What happens is, and this is why I do what I do, I hold this space for others, hold support for others that are in this process. There is naturally a seeing of all that needs to be released, all the tensions in the body that need to be released, put simply. Um, and and I would use sound in those instances as well, to help realign and to help open and let go, to help let go. So let's see. So I moved to this property in 2003. And by 2004, I knew, at some level, I had a vision, basically, of a
Mhm.
dome being
Okay.
put on this property. So it was a good 20 years ago. I knew that I'd be using sound. There was just this drop in knowing. I knew that I'd be using sound and light to support others, somehow. This was prior to that shattering awakening that I mentioned. That happened in 2014. So this is just a natural, it was just a natural, it was just a vision. It took 20 years, but now it's here. And I'm kind of one to follow vision and not question too much, because I have a sense, especially 20 years. I mean, I had no idea it would take 20 years. It went through a lot of tries and iterations, but um, I there's a part of me that knows that I can't know until I'm in it what it's about, and there's just this deep trust that as it's unfolding, it'll be apparent. I did recently get a certification in sound therapy, and have fallen in love with gongs, and I have a lot of bowls, crystal bowls, and the Himalayan singing bowls, the metal bowls, and other instruments. And so I do offer over the internet. No, people don't have to come to the Mojave to enjoy sound immersions and sound healings with me. I have a really good sound system that works very well over Zoom. So that's set up. So sound healing comes in so many ways, and I'll just stop here and say that when I'm working with clients, I'm moving toward what they need in the moment, in the way that they need it in the moment. Sometimes that comes in the form of sound. Sometimes that comes in the form of intuitive, energetic healing, and maybe through sound combination. Much of the time, it's somatic inquiry. We go in and lean into those places that are ready. They're so ready to be seen with the light of awareness. A big part of my practice is pointing us back to our true nature using non-dual pointers in the moment, in real time. That's the only thing that anything ever happens is now. So we step out of the conceptual problem solving mind and into present moment experiencing through short meditation. And then I offer pointings back to our true nature for a lived experience of it, a recognition. And so we go for many small glimpses of our true nature. It doesn't have to be a shattering awakening. But back to your question, I don't know, I hope I answered your question about light and sound, but it's been such a delight. I'll just add that it's revealing itself as it's being offered with the intention for a recognition of wholeness. For me, healing is more of a remembrance. Healing is a remembrance of our wholeness. And so I'm just supporting that natural process that we're all in. Yeah, our systems naturally want to move towards that sense of wholeness. So I said a lot. That was a lot. So I'm going to step back and
No, no, no,
see
no, no.
how that's landing. Yeah.
This show is about that we will listen to you because we want to listen to you. You're wonderful and thank you for sharing so much. And also, we are talking about Kundalini. So, your journey through Kundalini awakening was intense and non linear. What is one myth about that spiritual awakening that you would love to debunk for our audience?
Okay. Spiritual awakening in general. I want to just say it's my understanding that it does not require a Kundalini awakening to open and know our true nature. What would I like to debunk? That it's that what I said in the beginning, those words of the Buddha, that so many of us could be held back with just this thought, the belief in the thought, not for me, not this lifetime. Right? We can tend to hold that belief, and that very thought could be the only thing in between. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. So let's see what else. What else wants to arise right now as far as what misconceptions might be out there regarding awakening? Awakening, like you were alluding to earlier, it's not about adding. It's more of a subtractive process. It's more
Yes.
about recognizing where the mind superimpositions over what's here and pure and ever present. And so what we do, it's really a shedding. It's really a letting go. And again, I do what I do because that process can be a bit uncomfortable.
Mm.
It can feel like we're dying, but here we go. What's true of you never falls away. What's true of you can never die, can
Yeah.
never die. So in this process, I just remind clients of that. And as we're meeting these parts of ourselves that we've taken to be real and true of us.
Yes.
Ah,
Thank you for sharing so much your experience and your plethora of knowledge. I think this is a wonderful conversation with you, and you are a wonderful person. And if after this my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
I can be reached at amarapalmer.com. I don't do social media. I've never been able to. Whenever I tune into social media, I just feel like I'm connected to a billion people, and that's challenging. So I don't engage much in social media, but I do have a very small YouTube channel just starting, and my website. Yeah, Freedom Through Inquiry. Um, but amarapalmer.com is the easiest, quickest way.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And I will make sure to attach all the details and links below so that the listeners can find them
okay.
easily and reach to you and can listen from you because you're a wonderful person and your knowledge is
Thank you.
commendable and
Thank
appreciable. And thank you, Amara, for bringing your desert wisdom, your raw honesty, and your invitation to simply be. And to everyone who is listening this, to my listeners, what if your healing wasn't about doing more, but about being more present, what already is? Remember, your essence has never been broken, only buried, and stillness is begins to rise. So, until next time, stay grounded, stay in peace, and listen to Inner Peace Better Health.